Hi there, and welcome to the latest episode of Quakerly Conversations. My name is Will Overholt, and I'm joined today with Tammy Honesty, a 1993 grad of Wilmington College. Thank you so much for being here today. It's great to meet you.
Glad to be here.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. We got a lot of stuff to talk about today, but we typically start this off by asking about your Wilmington College story. So if you want to tell us a little bit about how you came to Wilmington College, how your time in the theater program came to be, or anything that came out of it. I'd love to hear about it.
Great. So I chose Wilmington College based on about three things. As a high school student, I'd gotten a lot of information from a lot of different universities and was completely overwhelmed. And around New Year's Eve, Gary Sandy was doing the Cincinnati New Year's Eve countdown MC thing, and he gave a shout out to Wilmington College because he'd been here. And I was like, oh, well, I'll go look at that. And it was also at that time that Wilmington College did the Don't Be a Lemming, Go to Wilmington College campaign, which was an award-winning campaign at the time. Yep. And that got me because I had been just sorting my college experience, the colleges I was looking at by color, and whether or not I wanted to wear those colors, which is probably not the best way of doing it.
All right.
That's how I did it. And then the Lemming campaign was like, ooh, this is a really interesting artwork and everything. So it went to the top of the list. And then my mom and I did a lot of road trips to different universities, all the way to Illinois, Michigan, and all this other stuff. Miami University, which was right down the street. And we would drive on campus, have these great road trips, and drive on campus, and I'd go, nope, don't want to go to school here. And she was like, but Tammy, you've got an interview time appointment. And I'm like, yeah, I don't want to go. I don't want to go there. And Wilmington wasn't one of those top places, I thought, because my cousin had grown up in Wilmington, and I was like, I don't know. But we drove over here for an inside look day. Literally drove on campus and I went, yep, this is it. And then I walked in because I really didn't want to go to school with anybody else I'd gone to high school with. Little did I know that I would never, if I'd gone to a bigger school, I never would have seen them. Yeah. But, at the time, so we walk on campus, and Heather Reuter was a couple years ahead of me in my high school. And she was like the head cheerleader, super cool. Never knew who, I didn't think, we were in theater together, but I didn't think she really knew who I was. I walked on campus, and her mom, Diane, was also in the alumni office or something like that. Walked on campus, and Heather's working the registration desk for Inside Look Day, and just went, hi, Tammy, I'm so glad to see you. And I was like, oh, okay. This is going positive. And then we went to, one of those little breakout sessions, and Wynn and Lois were there.
Oh, yeah.
And they, asked us all what we wanted to major in, and I said theater, and of course they were like, ooh, and they were like, well, what do you want to do? And I said, I want to be a stage manager. I didn't know what that was at the time, but then we were supposed to move on to other sessions, and they were like, do you want to see this theater? And I was like, of course.
Why not?
And so I remember spending probably felt like an hour with Wynn and Lois in the theater, and Joyce Schickel was the I don't know, what do you call it, the student assigned to move the groups. So Joyce Schickel was a theater major, and so she took the group and then came back and then very patiently waited for us, and and it was that personal touch that both Wynn, Lois, and Joy, and Heather, all of them gave me that day, and that was what made my choice. And then I was quite devastated when my mother said, ooh, it's too expensive. We can't go. You can't go, because she was a single parent, and we were prepared to pay for a Miami University. Not that there's anything wrong with my, but a state college tuition price, which around that time was about $3,000, with room and board. And Wilmington was 9 to 10. We looked at the finances. I got enough scholarships, and I could get here. So that was but I was quite devastated when it was like, no, you can't go because we don't have the money. So
I love the testament that you shared about the theater, just walking in, because I feel like even now when you walk in, then versus now, it's still the spectacular, it just blows you away.
It does.
And the people are still around, the people still take care of it. You know, you talk about Wynn, you talk about Lois, it's really spectacular to hear those people have stewarded it this long.
Oh my gosh, yes.
You know, alongside that, you know, you finish your time at Wilmington, you know, you look at starting your career, you actually get into the theater type world. Can you talk a little bit about what you're doing currently now and how you got to that point?
And actually there's a Wilmington connection here too.
Perfect.
So, while I was in school here, my sophomore year, Lois Hoke encouraged me to go to Ohio Theater Alliance auditions in Columbus. And so I interviewed for summer theater jobs. Got one as an assistant charge artist at Miami University Summer Theater. Again, here's where Miami comes along. And go there for the summer. And Jamie Windsor, whose father taught at Wilmington College, is a retired professor. And, you know, he actually has the chair, you know. He was the scenic designer.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. So I connected with Jamie, who, you know, was here at Wilmington when Becky and Stephen were here. So, you know, all of that sort of connection, and worked really well with him, and that first year. And then I went back 2 more years, so 3 years. And so Jamie went back 3 years as also, and he helped me get ready for graduate school and auditions. And then eventually I was like, I'm just going to graduate school with you. So I decided to go to West Virginia University for graduate school. Studying under Jamie Windsor, Wilmington alum. So it is kind of like this whole succession. And so I got my graduate degree in Master of Fine Arts and Scenic Design from Jamie at WVU. Then I went on and, let me see if I can make this short. This is short. I went to, I painted for a year at Cornell University as a resident assistant, RPT, resident professional teaching assistant for a year, which was a staff position. And because I didn't want to come home to Ohio and didn't want to pack up my life, I looked around for a summer job, and Mackenzie Childs, which is a high-end home furnishing company, was looking for decorators and painters of stuff. So I sent my resume in. I had an interview, and they're like, well, you're a designer. We would like you to be our New York City window display designer. And I was like, wow, that sounds cool. That's a real job, not this, theater job, upward mobility and everything. So I did that for a year. I was their window display designer for in New York City. I also did their trade shows. So we did a show at the Javits and that's in New York City. Then a home show in Atlanta, a couple other things along the way, and I realized I didn't like it.
That's okay though. At least you recognized it.
Yeah, I was like, okay, it's going to get better, because I started out, the first when I started like in May. I had a window display that I had to install on Madison Avenue in 2 weeks. Didn't know anything about the company. And luckily, I sort of pieced it together with somebody else, but I was just flying blind. I mean, and there weren't any drawings of the windows. It was just this just build the plane while you're flying experience, which is not my comfort zone. And then by the time I left, a year later, I had 2 assistants. I had figured out how to work with the research and marketing department, as well as the production department, because at first I was just like, ooh, that's pretty, let's just put that in the window. And they would then be like, we don't have product because we're handmade home furnishing. What the heck are you doing? So then I learned how to figure out how we were going to do the marketing, how it just was a much bigger thing than I'd ever had experienced. So by the end of it, I had okay, we're doing this, we're ready to install this window, we know what next month's is, we have a trajectory for the next 6 months that we're working with production. And so I actually had made it my own, and I figured it out a lot of it, but I just really didn't like it. One morning, I was meeting with the company's owner, Victoria McKenzie Childs, at 7 in the morning because she liked to have meetings at 7 in the morning.
Of course, yeah.
I had an hour drive to work, so it was great.
Yeah.
And so at 7 in the morning, I was laying out, we're getting ready to install this. This is what next month is, and here's the next. I've got a preliminary design for the 3rd month, and here are the next 3 months after that. I'm feeling pretty good. And she's like, yeah, that's great. Now we're going to talk about the fact that we're going to open a store on Rodeo Drive. We're going to do the Paris Home Show and the Javits one and Atlanta. And I'm like, but the Javits and Atlanta and Paris are all at the same time. We don't have labor to do that, and not to mention that when we did a trade show booth, we took one of every single piece of product. And the last time we were in New York, we kept breaking products. So we were sending people down, calling the store and going, send somebody in a taxi with XYZ. Wait, have you left yet? Here's another piece.
Add something else.
And I was like, we can't do that in Paris. And to open a store on Rodeo Drive, it wasn't just we went in and we opened the store. At that time, the company would decorate every single wall with mosaics of corn kernels. Wow. And in mirror shards. Yeah. And I was sitting in that meeting and was like, no.
Seeing the list.
I saw the list and I was like, no, I don't want to work here anymore. Wow. And she was like, why? And I'm like, I can't do all that. No, thank you. And so I quit my job right there in that meeting. and I went back to my office, which was in the middle of a wood shop. And about noon, my phone rang. And it was Cornell, the production manager of Cornell, saying, hey, our props master just quit. Would you like a job for the August? And I'm like, yeah, as a matter of fact, I would. I quit my job 4 hours ago.
Wow, that's crazy. That is so cool how that works out, though.
Yeah, and so then I went back. I did catering for 3 months in the summer because I was like, I'm out. And went back to Cornell this time as the props coordinator and filling in for that. And it was a whole new set of skills that I hadn't really had before, but I was trained as a scenic designer, so I knew how to tell a story. And I had a props carpenter who was wonderful that I knew from before. And so I do that, and midway through that year, the scenic artist quits at Cornell. And I'm trying to I was sort of doing both jobs, but they hired in somebody as a temporary who never knew how to be a scenic artist. They were a fine artist, similar skill set, but not, because scenic artists are big. You paint fast, you paint big, and you got to get it done. Yeah. And she was with one eyelash brush, I'm like, oh no, honey, just let's go.
Looking at the
And so I was trying to teach her while doing my job, and I applied for the permanent position of scenic artist, thinking, well, I had it before, I should get it again. Only I was doing too good of a job as the props coordinator, and they're like, yeah, no, we need to keep you there. And I'm like, okay. So I did that for an additional year, and then my now husband, we were dating at the time, got a job teaching at University of Cincinnati College Conservatory of Music. Awesome. So then we moved here. And I painted in scene shops, painting cruise ships sets, painting corporate theater sets, like for Toyota and Longaberger Basket Company, and New Skin, which was kind of like an Avon thing, and doing that. And then eventually about 2005 or so, I was like, I want to teach now. And because of Wilmington College, again, fellow 1993 graduate Gina Neuer was teaching at Sinclair College, was community college at that point, now Sinclair College. She was teaching that, and we were at a conference or something, and we're literally in the women's restroom. And I was like, so how does one go about starting to teach? And she was like, you want to teach? Oh, okay, just send me your resume and all that. I mean, literally we're washing our hands in the women's restroom having that conversation.
That's awesome.
And so then and then like soon after that, I started teaching at Sinclair.
Awesome. So tell me now what you're doing in Cincinnati, for a current project.
Yes. I'm here in Cincinnati working at Cincinnati Playhouse in the Park, designing the set for Tenderly, the Rosemary Clooney story. This
awesome.
It's really fabulous. I'm so grateful to be a part of it, being a native Cincinnatian. Also, this show started in 2012 as a one-act at the Human Race Theater in Dayton, written by Janet Yates Vogt and Mark Friedman. They're Cincinnati playwrights. The Human Race, commissioned it. They did a one act of it. Then I think it was in 2017, 2018, Cincinnati Playhouse in the Park commissioned it to become a full two-act show. And so they reworked it, and they performed it there. And Michael Morata, who is this year's director, originated the role of the male actor in it. And so now we have another go at it. And this has been done all over the country for years, since 2017. So it's really great to bring this story home, hometown girl, Rosemary Clooney, and it's really wonderful.
So tell me how that process works then. I mean, what is paint me a picture of what your normal day looks like on set.
Oh, well, this time, once I get to on set and in the theater, I don't have a lot to do if I've done my job well.
Yeah.
All of my work happens prior to this. So I started working on this project, my goodness, I would say back in August, maybe even a little earlier than that, where the director and I talked via Zoom, via telephone. We talked about what the story is. I think we actually had one Zoom call where we talked with Gordon Deviney, the costume designer, and Amber Watley, and Maury, I can't remember her last name, forgive me, the sound designer, and talked about the show. And then we went on with creating our own areas of design. So after I read the script and talk with the director, I find visual images that support what I'm thinking the themes are, what we've decided the themes and concept of the show are, and then I develop that into a set, an environment that either represents the external world of the play or the internal world of the character, or somewhere in between. And with this show, it really leans into a little bit of a hybrid between the two of them, because Rosemary Clooney, if you don't know her life story, which is a fascinating story and told in flashbacks, she battled with a lot of mental health issues and addiction in the 60s. And so basically this show is her talking with her psychiatrist and identifying all of the pieces and parts throughout her life and how she got there, and then rising above that and having another career after her mental breakdown. And so the set reflects that. It has a bit of asymmetry for the bipolar and manic episodes that she experienced, as well as a sort of elegance of her external world of being a singer with Bing Crosby and Frank Sinatra.
Wow, that is really interesting. That's just such a cool, unique story, and not a lot of people really seem to know about that. They think about her. My first exposure to her was White Christmas. And that's typically what you think about. That's kind of how you get the Cincinnati connection. But that's really spectacular.
It's a really fabulous story, and I have so much respect and admiration for everything that she triumphed over.
Absolutely. Thinking a little bit more about the world of theater, as somebody that had touched on it a little bit in my time in school, and some of the people in their time in school typically do here and there with theater. What is a part of theater that not a lot of people are well aware of, or not a lot of people, or a misrepresentation or something like that in the theater world that you can talk about?
I think most people think of theater and live entertainment as the actors. I think they understand that, they see that, and that makes sense to her. I don't think that they realize in most professional instances that for every one person you see on stage, there are probably 40 to 100 people supporting that one person. Everything from the scene design, scenery construction, props design, props construction, lighting design, etc., costumes. You get all that, but then you need to think about, okay, costumes also has a whole bunch of people who do maintenance, and we also are an economic engine in the community where, because we use the dry cleaners and the cobblers and and we buy from all these people, the props and the resources from the hardware stores and fabric stores, and I think that they just don't realize how much goes into it, as far as it's such a wide-reaching industry, as well as it takes a lot of talent and artists, and there are skills that go into it. You just don't roll up one day and go, hey, my mom has a barn, and I can sew some clothes and let's put on a show. That was a great thing in the early 1900s, but today it's a whole new ball game. There are people who just focus on lighting, programming. It's just, or networking the lights. That's a job in of itself. So.
I think a lot about the hometown here in Wilmington, coming through. You see people all the time over at the Murphy Theater. You're working at the Playhouse of the Park. Tell me, or explain to people that may not understand really, why local theater is so important.
Oh my gosh, local theater is so incredibly important. Again, you're working with locals. You're infusing your local economy. Even if it's coming into the Murphy Theater, we've got touring companies that come in it, but it's still you're paying. Your ticket price goes to pay for the lights and the upkeep of the Murphy Theater, for the people who local people to work that venue. I just think that local theater, who else better to go and hear stories from? And even if you're going to the Aronoff downtown in Cincinnati, No Theater, Cincinnati Shakespeare Ensemble Theater. Cincinnati and Dayton, Ohio have amazing theater scenes, and it's just it's supporting. It's like shop local, buy local. Yes, you watch things on Netflix, but here you're helping support your fellow man or woman, persons in your community.
Absolutely. All right, so alongside the theater world, you also have a book that just came out. You've had 2 books come out now. Tell me about them. I'm very interested in hearing about this.
there are two books: the Fake Food Cookbook, Props You Can't Eat for Theater, Film, and TV. And it ends up being volume 1. Volume 2 is the Fake Food Cookbook, Props You Can Eat.
Okay, that one sounds better for me.
Yeah. So the first one, the Props You Can't Eat, came out of when I was a 1-year visiting professor at University of Cincinnati, CCM. Kirsten Harrison, I was her thesis sort of advisor for her prop fake food cookbook. And I was so proud of her. She did 25 recipes, and we'd meet every week, and we'd look at what she'd created out of, foam and Alex Plus window caulking and all this other stuff. And we'd look at them and I would tweak it as far as like colors and things like that. And then I helped her edit and write it. Well, she wrote it, I helped edit it. Mm-hmm. And when she got through with it, I was like, Kirsten, this is fantastic. And we went to the USITT conference that year, and I was like, this has to be a book. And I took it around a couple of other professionals. I'm like, what do you think about that? They're like, it needs to be a book. And so I took her by the hand, went over to Rutledge, Taylor and Francis Focal Press. It's now all become Focal Press at the time. And I was like, Stacy Walker, what do you think? She was like, this is fabulous. Here's a book proposal. So Kirsten, being in her 3rd year of grad school, promptly went, oh, this is too much work. I'm going off to a career working for a couple of smaller budget movies, and I'm done with school. I'm done with all this. And I was like, yeah, okay. So this went on, and every year or so, I would say to my husband, Chuck, I was like, I'm just so wish that Kirsten had done that. Mm-hmm. And fast forward, a couple more years later, I was talking with my friend Mary McClung, whom I teach with at WVU now, and she'd just published her book, and I was like, oh, Mary, that's so cool. I wish Kirsten had done this. And my husband, not missing a beat while we were eating dinner, was like, Kirsten doesn't like to write, don't you? And I'm like, oh, that could be the problem. Mm-hmm. And he goes, well, why don't you ask if you could co-write with her? Mm-hmm. And so I texted her and said, hey, what do you think about this? What if I write the words, you do the project? And she was like, oh, okay, yeah, let's go. And so sent off that, and we did the entire first book via text message and email. Wow. We were in 2 different states. We had 1 phone call. I don't know how we did it. I moved during the middle of it, and so we got that done. And then a few years later, fast forward to that came out in 2018. In 2022, I was at the USITT conference, saw Kirsten again, and she was like, hey, right after the book had come out, I was like, it would be fun to do a props that you can eat, because you have to eat on stage a lot of times. She's like, yeah. And we were like, no, let's not do another book. So in 2022, Kirsten comes up to me and goes, hey, let's do that book. And I was like, no. I think I'm going to stop teaching. I'm going to be a consultant, or I was going through, the post-pandemic reckoning of what am I doing with my life. And she was like, no, you still have to teach, because the world would, you need to teach. And I was like, I don't know. And she was like, we need to write this book. And I'm like, I don't know. And so after that I did choose to move to West Virginia University and teach there, and I'm very happy I did. And as soon as I made that choice, I was like, okay, Kirsten, let's go. Let's do it.
That's awesome.
And so this time, however, she came to West Virginia University. I bought all the materials, and with some of my startup funds as a new faculty member, we took over the green room for an entire week and made over 70 dishes.
Wow.
And these recipes were crowdsourced from props artisans all over the world. And by all over the world, I mean North America, Canada, and Ireland.
There you go. That's enough.
I need to draw that in my world, my Western European world. But we got all these crowdsourced recipes, so we recreated them. And some of the recipes we got were like, take, 3 drops, some of them were very specific about 3 drops of this food coloring, this, that, and the other. Others were like, yeah, I used X for this, and we're like, how much of the? And so there was a lot of experimenting and everything. One of the most exciting ones that I found was one person had done this reverse spherification. Big words, big words, to create a edible raw egg. So in Cabaret, Sally Bowles has to drink 2 raw eggs. And you're not going to do that. And so the reverse spherification is a term that they use in gastronomy and cooking, where you can it's a molecular thing where it will form a heat-stable gelatin around something. So like boba, you know. So basically using mango juice and creating a heat-stable gelatin around it, so that you can put that with some like apple juice and some water thickener. Who knew there was water thickener? There's water thickener.
Interesting.
Yes, I know. And so then you can get sort of that same viscosity of a raw egg, but it tastes so much better.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. Any others that you can think of?
The other one from Jay Duckworth, he has this ground beef recipe, which is basically Rice Krispies and some red velvet cake mix and a little bit of red food coloring, and it's basically Rice Krispie treats.
All right.
But it looks like ground beef.
That is amazing.
Yeah. So.
And people can get your book on Amazon.
Yes,
correct?
they can get both of them on Amazon.
That is awesome. We'll have to
just came out.
Put that in the description on the episode.
Yeah.
That is so cool. Tell me a little bit of some advice for anybody that is looking to get into the world of theater or scene design or really any other branch.
I think the biggest piece of advice is that if it's going to be a lot of hard work. Anything worth doing is going to be hard work, and you get out of if you choose to go to school, a 4-year or even go on to graduate school. You get out of it what you put in. So the more you can be curious and volunteer and do things. I mean, that's the thing, is just be curious and show up and be present and do things. I mean, one of the things I learned most at Wilmington College, I worked in the scene shop as a shop assistant. I was a stage manager. I remember walking across campus one day, and it was like on a Sunday afternoon, and I noticed Wynn's car was over in the parking lot. So I just trucked on over to the theater, and I'm like, and walking the stage and noticed that he's got a wing chair that he is reupholstering for. It was for the show Black Coffee. We needed to do 2 of them. And so he's got a book out, and he's like, I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm learning how to reupholster a chair. And I'm like, can I help? And so the 2 of us sat all Sunday afternoon learning how to reupholster a chair. We did it together, and I now know how to reupholster a chair.
That's so cool.
That helped me later, because then when I was a got that job as a prop coordinator in the afternoon, now I knew how to do it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again. We really appreciate it, and we'll catch you next time.
Great. Thank you.